Canada is shaped by cold, distance, and northern regions inhabited by resilient people. Gilles Vigneault sings, "My country is winter and it's true. Whether we embrace it or not, we are a polar nation. Sovereignty over nearly 10 million square kilometers must be demonstrated. We must prove we can protect the vast North, develop its resources, and create opportunities for its people. We must stop thinking small." The North holds immense underdeveloped resources coveted by other nations, yet Canada has limited means to monitor the region, deter adversaries, or respond to incursions. A northern strategy needs 4 priorities: deterrence, defense of the territory, resource development and transportation and communications corridors. The first 2 require forces able to deploy nationwide and operate seamlessly with allied polar nations, plus northern bases, with First Nations as full partners. Sovereignty over the Northwest Passage has been challenged for decades. Canada considers the passage internal waters, while the United States considers it an international strait. How will we react when adversaries transit these internal waters? Sovereignty means having an answer beyond protest. Northern temperatures are rising, and other countries are positioning themselves to take advantage of Arctic's new potential. Russia leads Arctic development, with dozens of vessels able to operate in and under ice. China calls itself a near-Arctic state and holds equity in more than 24 Canadian mining companies. The Arctic is also a route to challenge the United States through a lightly defended Canada. Consider how the Canadian Armed Forces Joint Task Force North covers Yukon, the Northwest Territories, Nunavut, and the Arctic Ocean with only 300 personnel. The Canadian Rangers, a lightly armed part-time reserve of nearly 5,000, are the eyes and ears of much of the North. The nearest fighter bases able to answer a NORAD emergency, Bagotville, Quebec, and Cold Lake, Alberta, are many flying hours away. By comparison, the U.S. keeps 9 military bases in Alaska and more than 20,000 active duty personnel. In May, the 8 Arctic allies committed to more presence, surveillance, and joint training in the high north. Security underpins trade, but infrastructure underpins security. Unmanned radars, drones, and undersea sensors aren't enough. Canada has no year-round ice-free Arctic port, and the Armed Forces Deepwater facility at Nanisivik on Baffin Island is slated for shutdown. Against that record, the March 12 announcement of $40 billion in northern investment is a real opportunity. Infrastructure in Nunavut and the Northwest Territories, expanded forward operating locations at Yellowknife, Inuvik, and Iqaluit, and upgraded Arctic airports. Promise must become action. Much of our prosperity depends on extracting and delivering resources, some of them in the north. Canada should make northern transportation and communications corridors a national priority, built with private sector and Indigenous partners wherever possible. The idea is not new. In 1968, Lieutenant General Richard Romer proposed an east-west mid-Canada corridor from Labrador City through Flin Flon to Fort Nelson, with highways, railways, and communities to draw Canadians northward. Ontario is exploring the Ring of Fire, Quebec has its Plan Nord, an expanded port at Churchill or improved facilities at Port Nelson would shorten the route to Europe. Grays Bay, on Nunavut's Coronation Gulf, shows how these objectives can converge. A 230-kilometer all-season road toward the Northwest Territories border, a deep-water port on the Northwest Passage, and an airstrip. It could become Canada's first overland link to a deep-water Arctic port, with royalties to Indigenous partners. The road and port would help unlock the Izok Lake and High Lake zinc-copper deposits, owned by MMG Limited, which is controlled through a majority interest by China Minmetals, a Chinese state-owned enterprise. Canada needs northern investment, but it should consider who ultimately controls strategically important resources. Canada's full sovereignty requires legal independence, political self-determination, and territorial integrity, and the means to see, deter, and respond across its territory. The North holds wealth that can raise every Canadian's standard of living through responsible, market-driven development. Corridors, east-west and north-south, will carry it to market. Winter is our country. It is time we governed like it.
Please like, share, and subscribe if you appreciate this content.